Prince Andrew remains the elephant in the throne room during King Charles's historic visit. Prince Andrew. The lingering shadow over King Charles' historic Vatican pilgrimage. In the grand tapestry of British monarchy, where history weaves threads of triumph and turmoil, few moments promise the symbolic weight of King Charles III's impending state visit to the Vatican. Scheduled for October 23, 2025, this journey marks a seismic shift in ecumenical relations. A British monarch, as Supreme Governor of the Church of England, will publicly pray alongside a pope for the first time in nearly 5 centuries. Yet, as the King and Queen Camilla prepare to step into the hallowed halls of the Sistine Chapel, a persistent specter haunts the throne room: Prince Andrew. The disgraced Duke's scandals, reignited by fresh revelations and public outrage, threaten to cast a pall over what should be a beacon of reconciliation and harmony. This week stands as a pinnacle in Charles' reign, a deliberate stride toward interfaith unity amid a world fractured by division. The visit, postponed from April due to the late Pope Francis's illness and now realized under the newly elected Pope Leo XIV, coincides with the Catholic Church's Jubilee year 2025. It echoes the King's lifelong commitment to environmental stewardship and spiritual dialogue, themes that have defined his public persona long before ascending the throne. But the pomp of papal audiences and ecumenical services risks being overshadowed by headlines dominated not by olive branches extended across denominational divides, but by the thorny legacy of royal indiscretion. Prince Andrew, once a favored son of the late Queen Elizabeth II, has morphed into the monarchy's most unwelcome elephant, massive, immovable, and trampling the delicate optics of this historic endeavor. A historic embrace, Charles' Vatican Odyssey. To grasp the profundity of this visit, one must rewind to 1534, when King Henry VIII's audacious rupture from Rome's shattered centuries of Catholic allegiance. Henry's quest for an annulment from Catherine of Aragon, denied by the Vatican, birthed the Church of England in a schism that reverberated through Tudor palaces and beyond. For 491 years, no reigning British monarch dared, or deigned, to kneel in joint prayer with a pontiff. A chasm deepened by wars of religion, imperial rivalries, and Protestant Catholic animosities. Enter Charles III, whose ecumenical leanings have long transcended such barriers. As Prince of Wales, he forged bonds with Popes John Paul II and Benedict XVI. Now, as king, he seals a chapter of healing. The itinerary, meticulously crafted, brims with poignant gestures. Upon arrival in Rome on October 22, Charles and Camilla will be received in private audience by Pope Leo XIV. The Argentine cleric who ascended in May 2025 following Francis's passing. This meeting, the first between the two leaders, sets the stage for an unprecedented ecumenical service in the Sistine Chapel at midday on the 23rd. Led jointly by Leo and the Archbishop of York, Stephen Cottrell. The liturgy will invoke the care of creation, a nod to Francis's seminal encyclical Laudato Si*, marking its 10th anniversary. Hymns penned by Saint Ambrose, translated by the Anglican-turned-Catholic Saint John Henry Newman, canonized in 2019, an event Charles attended, will underscore the shared Anglican-Catholic heritage. Newman's arc from Oxford Movement firebrand to cardinal symbolizes the very reconciliation unfolding beneath Michelangelo's creation of Adam. The afternoon unfolds with further milestones. Charles will convene with environmental advocates in the Sala Regia, amplifying his advocacy for biodiversity and climate action, causes where his private sector mobilizations have earned Vatican praise. At 2:45 p.m., the royal couple will visit the Basilica of St. Paul outside the walls, where Charles receives the honorific Royal Confrater of St. Paul, a title adorning a bespoke chair emblazoned with the royal coat of arms. This basilica, site of annual ecumenical vespers since Vatican II, ties back to St. Paul's historic links with the English crown. The evening culminates at the Pontifical Beta College, a seminary nurturing Commonwealth priests, hosting a reception that blends diplomacy with cultural exchange. This is no mere ceremonial jaunt, it's a deliberate reclamation of shared spiritual ground. As Buckingham Palace articulates, it's the first state visit since the Reformation where monarch and pope unite in Sistine prayer. And Charles' inaugural attendance at a service in St. Paul's. In an era of rising secularism and interfaith tensions, Charles' pilgrimage radiates hope, a monarch bridging divides. Like his environmental pleas unite disparate faiths against planetary peril. Yet, for all its luminous intent, the journey launches amid a royal storm that no amount of incense can fully dispel. The elephant awakens. Andrew's title surrender and public fury. 5 days before Charles' departure, Prince Andrew issued a terse statement via Buckingham Palace, announcing he would cease using his Duke of York title, a peerage bestowed by his mother in 1986 amid matrimonial fanfare. This voluntary relinquishment, following discussions with the king and family, extends to ancillary honours, the Earldom of Inverness, Barony of Killyleagh, and his knight companion berth in the Order of the Garter, Britain's most venerable chivalric order. Andrew retains his princely style, unremovable, as birthright of the sovereign son, but the Duke of York mantle, once evoking York's medieval glory, now lies dormant, a relic of faded privilege. This move, timed perilously close to the Vatican voyage, stems from mounting public revulsion. A YouGov poll captures the zeitgeist. 80% of Britons demand formal stripping of the dukedom via parliamentary act, a rarity last invoked over a century ago against a scandal-plagued noble. Cross-party MPs, from SNP firebrands to Tory stalwarts, echo this clarion call, lodging early-day motions for legislative excision. The catalyst? The posthumous memoir Nobody's Girl, a memoir of surviving abuse and fighting for justice by Virginia Giuffre. Released October 21, 2025. Giuffre having died by suicide in April at 41. Giuffre's tome, co-authored with Amy Wallace, unflinchingly revisits her allegations. Trafficked at 17 by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. She claims 3 sexual encounters with Andrew, in London at Maxwell's Mayfair abode, New York, and an orgy on Epstein's Little St. James Island involving 8 underage girls. Entitled, "As If He Believed Having Sex With Me Was His Birthright," she writes, detailing Andrew's profuse sweating on a nightclub dance floor, contradicting his infamous 2019 Newsnight denial of perspiration due to a Falklands War overdose. Further, Barbs accuse Andrews' team of hiring internet trolls to harass her online and dodging service of her 2021 lawsuit by retreating to Balmoral's well-guarded gates. She alleges a major broadcaster spiked her 2019 interview fearing royal reprisals, lost access to William and Kate, while Epstein dangled $15,000 per servicing of Randy Andy. Andrew, 65 and 8th in line, vehemently denies all, as in his 2022 settlement with Giuffre, undisclosed sum, no admission. Yet, the memoir's shadow lengthens. Unsealed U.S. documents reveal 4 Epstein jet flights. A 2011 email purportedly tasks a bodyguard with probing Giuffre's criminal record, and London's Met Police probes the latter. Giuffre's family hails the book as vindication, urging Charles to revoke Andrew's princely title via letters patent. Anti-monarchists like Republic decry it too little, too late, demanding full divestment and naval rank forfeiture. Even as Andrew's daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie, retain princess status, ex-wife Sarah Ferguson sheds Duchess, reverting to plain Ferguson. This cascade isn't isolated. Andrew's 2019 public retreat, 2022 military patronage purge, and HRH ban were prelude. Now, as Charles slims the firm, Harry and Meghan's Sussex exit a precedent, Andrew's stasis grates. Historians like Anthony Selden deem it a decisive moment, evoking Edward VIII's abdication echoes, though without throne stakes. The public mood, per polls, sours. 67% back total stripping, viewing Andrew's persistence as entitlement incarnate. Royal Lodge, a gilded cage of controversy. Compounding the title tumult is Andrew's domicile, Royal Lodge, the 30-room Windsor Great Park pile he's occupied since 2004. Leased in 2003 for 75 years, until 2078, from the Crown Estate, a £15 billion public portfolio funneling profits to the Treasury. Andrew fronted £1 million upfront and £7.5 million, escalating to £10 million, in renovations. Per a 2005 National Audit Office report deeming the deal appropriate for security and control. Annual rent, a nominal peppercorn, if demanded, symbolic, not pecuniary, rendering him effectively rent-free for 22 years. Save council tax, £3,685 yearly, and upkeep. This ironclad pact, encompassing 40 hectares, a gardener's cottage, 6 staff lodges, and police quarters, shields Andrew from eviction. Early termination? The Crown Estate owes him £558,000 compensatory, plus £185,865 annually till 2028. Taxpayer funded, as estate yields benefit the Exchequer. Valued at £20 million. Market rent might hit £260,000 yearly. Andrew's bargain starves public coffers, fueling ire. Charles once hoped fraternal persuasion would prompt downsizing to Frogmore Cottage. Harry and Meghan's cast-off, slashing security to hasten it. Andrew demurs, ensconced with Ferguson, ignoring the gale force public sentiment. Ministers press Prime Minister Keir Starmer for firmness. He hasn't nixed a select committee probe into the arrangements. Tories like Kemi Badenoch urge now refresh. Labour's open to Andrew's testimony. As photos reveal peeling stucco and £2 million repair needs. Andrew's £200,000 roof fix notwithstanding. The lodge symbolizes excess. A mini palace for a pariah, its thatched YBWTHYN Bach cottage. Gift to young Elizabeth and Margaret, now ironic relic. # unresolved riddles and royal reckoning. These scandals spawn vexing queries. Why the title surrender now? Post-memoir excerpts. Does Andrews Garter retention mock chivalric ideals? Will Parliament act, or defer to palace fiat? How does Lodge largesse square with Charles' slimmed-down vision? And crucially, can the king quarantine this rot during Vatican sanctity? Charles, ever the diplomat, envisioned Andrew's voluntary exile, private life, sans spectacle. Yet, the Duke's opacity, or defiance, erodes that. The 2019 Newsnight debacle. Andrews Epstein empathy void. Pizza Express alibi. Ignited inferno. Giuffre's book fans it. As Charles jets to Rome, headlines scream Andrew, not Sistine solidarity. This decade-plus saga, unquenched, chips at monarchical sheen, amplifying Republican whispers. Yet, resilience defines Windsor's. Elizabeth weathered Diana's tempests. Charles, Camilla's past. This visit, prayer in papal pews, confrater chair, affirms renewal. Andrew's shadow may loom, but Charles' light, forged in faith's forge, endures. For the throne's sake, may reconciliation prevail, Vatican bound and beyond.